After I turned 35, my figure started to lose its shape, my skin grew sallow, and fine lines began to appear around my eyes. Midway through one intimate encounter, Huijing pinched the soft flesh on my belly and suddenly said, "Honestly, looking closely, you're pretty average. How did I ever fall for you?" I never expected that being a kept woman would lead to being laid off at the age of 35. At the time, I was staring up at the ceiling relief, which I'd heard was the work of some foreign master. Very expensive. Every time Huijing came to me, I would gaze up at it. In the beginning, Huijing would grab my hair and force me to look him in the eye. He had beautiful, gem-like eyes and a languid manner that reminded me of an exotic cat. Huijing was strong, so my scalp hurt, and though the scene seemed full of tension, the pillow was stained with bloody strands of hair. His voice, tender yet demonic, would echo in my ear. "Sister, why can't you look only at me?" Later on, our relationship gradually settled down. At least we didn't fight tooth and nail before bed anymore, and Huijing no longer demanded that I keep my eyes on him all the time. He unlocked the chain from my wrist, but I wouldn't run away anymore. I was panting slightly, my stamina couldn't keep up with Huijing's. My murky gaze pulled back from the ceiling and landed on Huijing's explosively ripped physique. He had gotten a tan, his bronze skin was very sexy. A man over 30 could still have such a roguish expression, let alone me. Even young girls would be completely infatuated with him. In contrast, the flesh on my thighs was saggy and loose. There was a hole in my silk pajamas, but I was too lazy to change. Huijing draped a bathrobe and sat on the sofa, his features hidden in the shadows, yet because they were so sharp, he looked like a carved statue. I pretended not to hear him. "I'll go on a diet tomorrow." Huijing laughed. He said, "Baby, that's not what I meant." Huijing tapped off the ash from his cigarette, his tone carrying a careless cruelty. "What I mean is, you're actually not that great as a person. It's because I love you too much that I gave you a filter." Now Huijing made an explosive gesture. The filter shattered. He walked out without mercy, saying with a hint of disgust and relief, "Qin Shui, you are free." It took me a long time to digest these words. My first reaction wasn't the ecstasy of regaining freedom, but a deep-seated anger. The person who said he liked me the most, who said he'd mix our ashes together even in death, now wanted to break up with me. I felt sad, then lost. I was ruined by Huijing. 10 years of being waited on hand and foot, no social life, no friends, forgetting how to use electronics. The TV in the room only ever played foreign channels, automatically shutting off after 8. My range of activity was limited to this villa and the half-mountain behind it, the Pei family's private territory. I was completely Huijing's possession, so I didn't know where to go. I had sensed Huijing's change of heart long ago. At first, he was clingy with me every day, calling me sister, praising me as his moon. I went from feeling great pain at the beginning to slowly longing for his arrival until he called me sister. I began to respond. Huijing wrapped me in a blanket and applied medicine to the wound on my wrist, his fingertips stained red with blood. Huijing lowered his head to coax me, his eyes full of concern. "Sister, does it hurt? You can hit me, but you must never harm yourself." Huijing was so gentle. His eyelashes trembled like butterfly wings. But later, he came only once a month, then once every 3 months, once every 6 months, until he kicked me out of the house. After being a kept woman for 10 years, I lost my job. I actually had very few belongings. All the clothes were bought for me by Huijing. He liked to dress me up. There were elaborate and gorgeous Lolita dresses, as well as fresh and refined little white skirts. Whatever Huijing bought me, I wore. Later, he stopped buying clothes, so I only wore pajamas. Before leaving, I looked in the mirror once. The woman inside was a bit chubby, with oily skin and messy, unkempt hair. No wonder Huijing didn't like me. What kind of me did he like, then? I left the villa with a suitcase containing my ID, passport, and a few sets of professional attire. I asked the butler where I should go. He sighed and said, "Go home." The sunlight was gentle but also dazzling. I walked along the street, looking slovenly. Many people cast strange glances at me. It was clearly the shopping mall from my memory, but now only a desolate shell remained. Too many tall buildings had risen in the city's busiest area. Not a single one was familiar to me. Even the roads had been widened to 4 lanes. I wanted to go back to the villa. I begged Huijing to let me stay by his side. I would be obedient and never cause trouble again. A passerby called the police for me. The police contacted my family through my ID card. A very familiar voice answered. I instinctively called out. Shen Mo on the other end of the phone. There was the sound of something shattering. Then came his urgent voice. Chen Shui?
Stay right there.
I'm coming to take you home. Shen Mo was my boyfriend. I was absolutely certain. I blinked, and tears fell. The Shen Mo in front of me blurred into a haze. He crouched down in front of me, grabbing my hand, still trembling violently. Where have you been all these years? We thought you died abroad. Shen Mo sobbed, his words broken. I lifted my head and stammered, asking him, where are Mom and Dad? Why aren't they coming to pick me up? Shen Mo held my hand tightly, his voice heavy. Let's go home. This was Shen Mo's home, not mine. In the hallway, a baby walker was piled up. As soon as we reached the door, I could already hear the noisy sounds inside, the sharp voices of children and a woman's stern tone. No, I said you have to finish your homework before you can have snacks. The two children pleaded in turns. Please, Mommy, just one candy, okay? Shen Mo's eyes were full of apology. He kept his head down, avoiding my gaze. Awkwardly, I turned my body away and stared at the pile of stuff in the corner. Shen Mo's family lived on the top floor, the only unit there. The small outer compartment served as a storage room, stuffed with clutter. From the baby walker to the soccer ball and kite, then to the children's electronic keyboard, everything showed how happy this family was. A sour feeling spread from the bottom of my heart, gradually reaching my nose, forcing tears to my eyes. We clearly agreed to get married before graduation. Shen Mo found shoe covers for me and said as he opened the door, "You can stay at my place for now." As the door opened, the twins rushed over and hugged Shen Mo's legs, saying, "Daddy, Daddy, where did you go? Mom is waiting for you to eat dinner." The hostess also came over with a look of impatience. "Shen Mo, you just left without a word after answering the phone. Do you even respect me?" She was about to say more, but stopped abruptly when she saw me. She only murmured, "Senior? I recognize her. She's Shen Mo's junior." Qi Lingwei's expression froze on her face. She made way and ordered the two children back to their seats, welcoming me with the air of a hostess. Qi Lingwei fetched a pair of slippers. "Shen Mo, honestly, how could you make Senior wear shoe covers?" Qi Lingwei took my hand and led me inside. I just made dinner. The Coke chicken wings are still warm. The atmosphere at the dinner table grew even more awkward. Qi Lingwei didn't ask where I had come from. She just said, "Senior, feel at ease staying at my place."
Don't worry about me.
My bite of the Coke chicken wings paused. Maybe Qi Lingwei had also noticed that I had gained a lot of weight. In the past, I was strict about my figure and rarely ate carbs. I even peeled the skin off the Coke chicken wings. At the class reunion, it was Shen Mo who did all of that for me. I took his favoritism for granted, enjoying not just it but also the envy of everyone else, including Qi Lingwei. She had always admired Shen Mo, but he never responded to her, until I went to Africa for sampling, where a terrorist attack occurred, and I went missing that same year. Shen Mo spoke up, saying that all these years, it was Qi Lingwei who had been with him, helping him through the darkest time. "The police couldn't find any news of you. Everyone urged me to move on, so later, Qi Lingwei and I got married." I was stunned. The chicken in my mouth turned bitter. I knew it. 10 years is a very long time. No one would wait for you forever. Everyone was moving forward, and it seemed I was the only one stuck in place. Shen Mo asked me, "Where have you been all these years?" I dared not say that I had been terrified by Huijing during the time I was imprisoned. Once, I managed to contact Shen Mo using an antenna. Although it was just a few busy signals, it was enough for him to trace it to the villa. But Huijing quickly discovered everything. He bound my hands and forcibly shoved me into the car. Shen Mo was handing out flyers on the street, never knowing that the person he longed for day and night was sitting in the Land Rover by the roadside. Huijing pried my eyes open and said mockingly, "This is a warning." A motorcycle sped by and knocked Shen Mo over. He lay motionless in a pool of blood, surrounded by scattered flyers. I screamed loudly, wanting to find someone to save Shen Mo, but Huijing held my hand tightly. The dark glass only reflected my panicked face. After that, I learned my lesson. I never contacted Shinemo again, because I knew that once the secret of my imprisonment by Huijing was exposed, he had countless ways to shut me up. So I could only shake my head and say, I don't know. Shinemo said softly, It's okay. Tell me when you're ready. I dared not look into Shinmo's eyes. He had nothing to do with me now. I could only mechanically chew my rice. Qi Lingwei suddenly burst into tears. I stared at her in a daze as large teardrops rolled down her cheeks. She kept apologizing to me.
Senior, I'm sorry.
I shouldn't have taken advantage of the situation to steal Shinemo away. I'm giving him back to you. Can you forgive me? Qi Lingwei tightly gripped my hand. It hurt. I didn't know how to answer. My mind a tangled mess. Senior, I'm really, truly sorry. Her tears were scalding hot, falling onto the scar on my wrist. Such an obvious scar, yet no one had ever seen it. I remembered the time when I was with Shinemo. We were making sculptures, and a machine hit my finger. It was only slightly red, but he was so distressed he searched everywhere for ointment. But now, his eyes were only on Qi Lingwei. I knew clearly that what was past. It's not your fault. Shinemo and I just didn't have fate on our side. Qi Lingwei looked up, wanting to say something, but Shinemo pulled her away. They broke into a fierce quarrel, and the two children were so frightened that they wailed loudly. The storm ended with Qi Lingwei storming out and slamming the door. When Shinemo chased after her, he still reminded me to stay put obediently. I crouched on the floor, picking up the scattered toys. The twins ran over and shoved me hard. You ugly woman, you're not allowed to stay in our house. As soon as you came, Mom and Dad started fighting. That's right, leave now.
We don't want to see you.
Losing my balance, I fell to the ground. The twins kept pushing and rejecting me. Their tiny fists landed on me, carrying a surprisingly heavy pain. Seeing that I didn't react, afraid that I would stubbornly stay, the two started crying loudly. Go away. Leave my home. I want Mom and Dad. I don't want them to fight. Watching the twins' desperate appearance, I seemed to see myself. My muddled mind also recalled some distant scenes. In fact, my relationship with Huijing was never good at all, and I never had a crush on him. I just had no other choice. At first, when I was imprisoned, I tried to escape and make a scene, screaming at Huijing just as sharply, only to be slapped hard by him. My eardrum throbbed with pain. I stumbled back in terror, my body trembling uncontrollably in Huijing's arms, as he apologized to me over and over. Later, because my resistance was too fierce, my wrists and ankles kept festering and healing under the chafing of the iron chains, forming thick scabs. Huijing tried to brainwash me, saying that if I just tried to love him, I wouldn't suffer anymore. But no one can fall in love with a beast in human clothing. To me, Huijing was just a junior, diligent and serious under my guidance, born into nobility yet without a temper. That was the only reason I thought highly of him. I took him along for experiments, went to the mountains to collect samples with him, and even once praised Huijing's beautiful eyes. When the experiment made progress and we were interviewed by the media, Huijing's gaze under the spotlight was both infatuated and tender. He said, "Congratulations, senior. You will definitely reach the top of the scientific research world." Huijing lowered his head, looking a bit dejected. "Will you still remember me then, senior?" I ruffled his fluffy hair and said, "Of course. Didn't we promise to work together on cracking the problem of rejection in allogeneic organs?" Back then, I never imagined that one day I would be so downcast, resenting the bright moon for shining not on me alone. So the moon fell into the mud, and it was no longer the moon you wanted. Huijing gave me medicine that stabilized my emotions but dulled my mind. Over time, cognitive confusion and memory loss followed. I became obedient, just as he wished. 10 years have passed, and circumstances have changed. No one will wait forever for another. I won't blame Shinemo, nor will I disrupt his family. There just wasn't enough fate between us. Almost, what a cruel word. How I wish everything before me was a dream, and when I opened my eyes, my parents would be sitting by the bed, asking me with concern what happened, if I'd had a nightmare. Shinemo was still 26, his promising career not lost to the car accident. I was still the mentor's favorite student, steadily advancing toward my goals. But when I opened my eyes, what greeted me was still the crying twins. The cold remains of the meal and the icy, suffocating surroundings. I struggled to my feet from the floor, wiped my tears, and left the place. Though I only remembered a few fragments, luckily I recalled where home was. Stumbling along, I hoped that going home would make everything better. But when I got home, there was no warm scene as I had imagined. I knocked on the door for a long time, but no one answered. A thick layer of dust had accumulated on the doormat. The sensor light in the hallway kept going on and off, but I kept pounding on the iron door. Mom, open the door. I'm home.
Dad.
I'm home. I don't have my keys. Can you open the door for me? I even pretended to pull out my phone to send a message, while tears streamed down onto the back of my hand. Mom, are you out shopping? Come back quickly. I can't get into the house. Dad, did you go fishing? I forgot my keys. Come back and open the door. Loud knocking alerted the neighbor across the hall. A woman came out and scolded me unpleasantly. Can you keep it down? The elderly couple next door passed away last year. Seeing my appearance, the woman thought I was some kind of crazy person. Her tone turned harsh.
Who are you?
If you don't leave, I'm calling the police. I finally burst into loud sobs. I am the daughter of this family. I was so close to coming home. Before my parents passed away, they entrusted their property to Shin. If I ever came back, he would give it to me. All that's left is this house. Over the years, my parents spent all their fortune searching for me. There's nothing left. They didn't sell the house because they were afraid that if I came back, I would have nowhere to stay. The house still has stacks of missing person flyers that were never handed out, piled up to knee height. Apart from essential furniture, almost everything else in the house was sold to make room for displaying my missing person notices. Shin said, Shui, your mental state is unstable right now. Better come stay at my place first. I walked into my own room. The furnishings hadn't changed. The bedding set in the wardrobe was still the blue I liked. Every single thing I had used was carefully preserved. My mother's diary also said, unless I see the body, I will never believe my daughter is dead. She has been a strong person since childhood. No matter how great the difficulty, it cannot defeat her. So, I absolutely cannot fall before her. I will definitely see my daughter. The room hadn't been lived in for a long time. As I moved, dust rose. In the mottled patches of light, I seemed to see my parents' shadows, but when I reached out, there was nothing. I declined Shinmo's kindness. Chi Lingwei is a good girl. When you were bedridden after the car accident, she took care of you. Don't let her down. Shinmo was stunned. How do you know I was in a car accident? I didn't answer Shinmo. I owed him a lot. The lover he should have had, the smooth career and future he ought to have had, the healthy body he should have had, all turned to nothing because of me. Now Shinmo was just barely getting by. I couldn't trouble him anymore. I took a deep breath and only told him, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. Through Shinmo's connections, I found a job. The dormitory aunt from our alma mater was going back to her hometown to take care of her grandson, so I got lucky. The clothes from my younger days no longer fit, but my dad's black cotton coat was just right. However, the face in the mirror looked haggard, and my figure was bloated. No matter how I looked at it, I was just a frumpy, middle-aged woman. On my first day of work, I arrived very early. At 4 a.m, the dormitory was empty, with not a soul in the hallway. At this hour, the students were fast asleep. The small desk lamp in the duty room was on, like a lonely star in the dark night. I hugged my thermos, which was infused with red dates, and started fiddling with my phone with the other hand. When I was imprisoned by Huijing, smartphones had just emerged. They had few functions, and watching videos required several loading cycles. Now, unlike before, news from all over the world refreshes automatically as soon as I open the apps. Even after being kicked out of the villa, I could still get news about Huijing from various platforms. Which company he acquired, becoming a prominent entrepreneur. On the award stage, Huijing was radiant with success. Facing the media cameras, his smile was full of confidence. I am honored that the drugs developed by our company can help people suffering from diseases. I believe that in the future, we will definitely overcome more challenges. Even social media platforms are flooded with information about Huijing. He has a fan club. Young girls adore his handsome face and admire his intelligence and composure, but no one knows how pathological he is in private. His glamorous life should have been mine. My stiff fingers trembled uncontrollably, tears dripping onto the screen. I wiped them away vigorously, but accidentally clicked on the latest news. Jing is about to get married. The other party is also from a family business in medical products, Liao Qingqing. I read the name out loud. How ridiculous. Jing destroyed my life, yet he can chase happiness without any burden, while I don't even have a chance for revenge. With nothing to my name, even if I wanted to stab Jing to death, I couldn't get through the gates of the Hu Corporation. In Jing's eyes, I'm no different from trash now. My trembling intensified, and I instinctively looked for food. In the villa, during many days and nights, because I was delirious, I deceived myself into believing that I loved Jing, but deep down, I contradicted myself again and again. Anxiety drowned me like the deep sea, so I sought comfort in food, and that's how I ended up looking like this. On the table were egg yolk cakes, cheap, yet bursting with calories. Eating them would make me happy, would stop me from feeling sad over Jing. I reached out, but not to eat the egg yolk cake. Instead, I stuffed it into the drawer. I'm only 35. My life isn't over yet. I can't give up on myself this early. I can't just surrender. Life has many directions anyway. There's always another path that works. My body had become frail from years of confinement, so I would exercise and recuperate. The knowledge I'd forgotten, I'd find it again by reading books. Even if I can't fulfill my former dreams, I'll still shine in the field I know. The moon is always the moon, even if it's dragged into the mud. After 6, students gradually got up. It was exam week, and a few girls were heading to the library in a group. They greeted me. "Are you the new dormitory auntie? You're actually reading our professor's book." One of them came up and said in surprise, "Your name is Chen Shui too?" Our mentor's favorite student is also named Chen Shui. My throat went dry, so I had to lie. I picked this up from a street vendor stall. The girl said, "Annie, you still love reading at your age?" She took out her phone and asked me a bit shyly, "Andy, would you be willing to sell this book to me? There are a lot of experimental notes in here that are really valuable for reference. I've been having some trouble with my culture recently," the girl said, while waving over her companion. "This is Senior Chen Shui's notebook. With this, we're set for the final exam, and maybe we can even use it for our thesis material." There was a large stack of books on my desk, accumulated from my days studying under my mentor. Something strange was sprouting in my heart, making the tip of my nose tingle. "Who is this Chen Shui you're talking about?" The girl sighed and said, "Chen Shui was our mentor's proud student. He still talks about her often. We've also read her papers and research directions. They're truly meaningful. Many of the developments at Hu Corporation are based on Senior's theories, like allogeneic transplantation. It's just a pity that Senior disappeared while sampling, and her fate is unknown. Otherwise, she would definitely be more famous than Hu Corporation now. But even if she were alive, she couldn't get back into the lab now. So, ma'am, can you sell me your book or not?" My nose tingled with sourness. I wiped the corners of my moist eyes and told her, "I'll give it to you once I finish reading it." The girl was startled. "Ma'am, I can't even finish reading these books. When will you ever be done?" They didn't take it to heart and walked off chatting and laughing. But the name Chen Shui didn't vanish from the world, as I had imagined. Even after 10 years, there were still people who remembered me. My job as a dormitory supervisor didn't last long. While cramming knowledge and losing weight, after a year, I finally looked like a proper person. Then I spent all my money on medical aesthetics. I had my eye corners opened and my nose bridge done. My once gentle features now had a sharper, more seductive look from my narrow eyes, with a pointed chin and blood-red lips. No matter how you looked at me, I no longer resembled the former Chen Shui. I bought a bunch of daisies and went to my parents' graves. Shin Mo was afraid I couldn't handle the overwhelming grief, so he had never told me where my parents were buried. It wasn't until a year had passed, when my emotions had stabilized, that I was able to come and pay my respects. To avoid suspicion, I declined Shin Mo's offer to accompany me. He hoped I could live a peaceful life. "Chen Shui, you're no longer young and neither am I. What's lost will never return. Starting over and reclaiming everything I've lost sounds like a fantasy at this age." I ignored Shin Mo. On one hand, it was to put Qi Lingwei at ease. On the other, I didn't want Shin Mo to get involved in what I was about to do. He has a virtuous wife and lively, obedient children, a picture-perfect family of 3. I have nothing, and I can't let Shinemo lose everything he is now because of our past bond. The last time I contacted Shinemo, his voice was still gentle. Qin Shui, what exactly happened over these years? You can tell me. Let's solve it together, okay? My voice was cold. My business has nothing to do with you. Silence spread between us. He probably thought he'd been wasting his efforts all these years on an ungrateful person. So, I hung up first. The wind blew off the petals of the daisies, the air thick with the bitter scent of incense ash. I thought about letting go of everything and living an ordinary life. But that would be a betrayal of Qin Shui, who was imprisoned for those 10 years. I am still alive, and that thought torments me. Why should Hu Jing stand at the top, enjoying his brilliant life? He should be like me, falling into hell. I placed the flowers in front of the tombstone, whispering a prayer. Mom, Dad, please watch over me. I used my mentor's connections to enter Liao Qingqing's company. The gray-haired old man recognized me the moment I appeared. My mentor asked me, "Where have you been all these years?" I grabbed his hand. Half kneeling before him, I said, "Teacher, can you help me with something?" I became a pharmaceutical representative. I had no time to delve into complicated research anymore. I needed to get Hu Jing's attention as quickly as possible. With my mentor's endorsement, my performance quickly became the best at Liao's, and being the best was the only way to show up at the annual banquet. And at Liao's annual banquet, Hu Jing, as Liao Qingqing's fiancé, would accompany her. I took a deep breath. I looked at myself in the mirror again and again. The woman in the reflection had delicate features, with more charm in her eyes compared to when she was 25. I looked like a completely different person from when I first stepped out of the villa. I left the restroom and sat down in my seat, waiting for the host to call my name. The annual party was lively, with many prizes, not to mention the even more generous awards for outstanding performance. Not only would Liao Group have rewards, but there was also a chance to join the new company co-founded by Hu Jing and Liao Qingqing as a founding member. I searched the crowd for Hu Jing's figure. He was in the front row, lazily leaning back in his chair, casually draping his arm over Liao Qingqing's shoulder. I knew Hu Jing. He didn't like this kind of occasion. It was too noisy for him. But he had no choice but to come. A friendly image helped him win people over. I took a sip of wine to make myself look more drunk, then walked up to the stage amid the host's applause. Hu Jing's shocked gaze followed me closely. I didn't look at him, just like years ago on the award stage when I never once glanced at Hu Jing. But I knew he would always be drawn to me. He resented that the moonlight refused to belong to him alone, and so he conceived that filthy idea, to trample the moon into the mud. Liao Qingqing handed me the car keys, her smile sweet. Miss Chen, in the new year, I hope you can achieve even greater results. The company is also fortunate to have an outstanding employee like you. Then Happy New Year to you. I took the keys from Liao Qingqing's hand. Thank the company for its training. I will definitely continue to work hard, and also wish President Liao a Happy New Year. Hu Jing was standing right beside Liao Qingqing, but I acted as if I didn't see him. The atmosphere grew awkward for a moment, until Liao Qingqing took the initiative to break the tension. Miss Chen, this is Hu Jing, also my fiancé. Only then did I turn my face to look at Hu Jing. He reached out his hand to me, his eyes slightly narrowed with a hint of arrogance and scrutiny. I shook Hu Jing's hand. Hello, CEO Hua. Hu Jing let out a scoff. Miss Chen's memory is really poor. I remember we were from the same school. I curled the corner of my lips. My memory is indeed poor. I can't remember unimportant people. Hu Jing's face darkened as he tightened his grip. A sharp pain shot through my fingers, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't pull them back. Liao Qingqing kept smoothing things over, saying that Hu Jing was just narcissistic and thought every girl in school liked him. Now he got taken down a peg. Hu Jing raised an eyebrow, then let go of my hand, but his eyes lingered on me. To Hu Jing, I was like a cockroach that just wouldn't die. He had used every trick on me, expecting me to give in and beg for mercy. He almost thought he had defeated me, but I was like a weed, sprouting back up within just a year. Hu Jing couldn't wait to find out what it would take to completely break me. After the year-end party, I was standing on the roadside waiting for a taxi. Hua Jing stopped in front of me, with Liao Qingqing in the passenger seat. Chen Shui, I'll have Hua Jing drive you home, she said. I didn't refuse and sat in the back seat. The city's neon lights flickered, casting mottled shadows across my face. My place was far from the city center, and even on New Year's, it was anything but lively, so quiet that only an occasional cat's meow broke the silence. I didn't turn on the lights. The room was pitch black. Not long after, a knock came at the door. I knew it was Hua Jing standing behind it. He leaned against the doorframe, his eyebrows raised playfully, with a faint smile. The curve of his thin lips was beautiful, and his fox-like eyes gained a touch of tenderness and lingering affection. Why are you living here? I remember your parents left you an inheritance. Hua Jing didn't care about my reaction at all. He walked into the room with an undeniable force. He knew everything. Even my parents' death was just a tool for him to oppress me. In the darkness, Hua Jing's eyes shone unusually bright. He condescended to sit on the hard wooden bed, crossing his long legs, leaning back slightly with his hands supporting him. Very relaxed. Chen Shui, you've given me another surprise. Hua Jing's gaze swept across the furnishings in the room as he said with interest, I thought you would find a place to end your miserable life. You've lost your lover, your parents, your career. Even your body has become bloated. Why can you still stand up? I didn't speak, just stood frozen in the darkness, like a silent sculpture. You've even become more beautiful. Hua Jing stood up. His icy hand clamped around my neck, the suffocation making my limbs go numb. But you still refuse to talk to me. Chen Shui, I truly hate you. He tightened his fingers. If I can't have you, destroying you is also a method, isn't it? At least before your ruin, you belong to me. Blackness pulsed in my mind. I forced a smile and grabbed Hua Jing's tie, my eyes now accustomed to the dim light. Seeing my smile, Hua Jing acted as if burned. He abruptly released me. My throat was sore and itchy. I collapsed to the ground, clutching his leg and coughing. I grabbed the hem of Hua Jing's clothes, crying and laughing. You're right. I have nothing left. So even in death, I'll cling to you. Let's entangle each other like this for a lifetime until we die. Hua Jing lowered his head, a faint smile curving his lips, looking mad and obsessive. His palm brushed over my face. That's right. Now that you have nothing, being with me is truly your best choice. He smiled deeply. Hua Jing had finally gotten what he wanted, entanglement. After 10 years, I finally chose to admit defeat and decided to stay by his side. His slender fingers brushed through my hair as he surveyed the shabby rental apartment, saying as if granting a favor, "Don't stay here anymore. Move back to the villa." After all, there were many beautiful memories of us there. Beautiful, he actually had the nerve to say that. I didn't refuse, just nodded. In the long years, I had touched every brick of the villa. I was more familiar with it than with Hua Jing. As the year-end approached, lanterns and decorations were everywhere, bustling with excitement. Every family was busy reuniting. I pushed through the crowded streets, carrying a small suitcase, as simple as when I left. I returned here after a year. Hua Jing didn't come often. His wedding with Liao Qingqing was imminent, and he needed to maintain a decent exterior. I was merely a bird he kept, too lowly to be seen in public. A canary, a seemingly noble and rare title, but behind it lies nothing but insult and belittlement. A bird that can't fly becomes a plaything in someone else's palm. How could there be any talk of cherishing it? As if rewarding me for being obedient, Hua Jing decided to spend one night with me after watching the fireworks with Liao Qingqing. In the past, he reveled in dragging a lofty beauty down into the mud. Now, he enjoys the vulnerable dependence that only needs him. Actually, you could see the fireworks being set off in the city from the villa too. They would last a whole month from now until New Year's. I watched from the rooftop for a long time until my body grew cold. I don't know when Hua Jing arrived. He draped his coat over me, his brows low, his tenderness like water. He lowered his head, his lips lightly brushing my cheek, with a hint of doubt as he probed, "Have you really learned to be good? Or are you deceiving me again?" I didn't deny it. The highest art of lying is to tell only truths, yet combine them into a huge conspiracy. So I spoke softly. "I did deceive you, because I don't want to live in obscurity all my life. No matter the circumstances, My career is my only pursuit. So, I don't want to be a bird locked in your cage. I want to stand by your side. If I'm good, will you grant me this request? Hu Jing stared at me fixedly, as if weighing the truth in my words. In the end, he chose to compromise. You have always been a capable person. If you are willing to stay by my side forever, then I am willing to elevate you to the pinnacle of the industry. My eyelashes fluttered slightly. I said thank you, and then leaned into Hu Jing's arms. The view here is really beautiful. During the day, you can see the entire mountain at a glance, making this place exceptionally open, so open that all our movements can be seen by others. Not to mention high-definition cameras. When Hu Jing stayed here overnight, scandalous rumors about him were already flying everywhere. I was sure it would soon reach Liao Qingqing's ears. Sure enough, early the next morning, Liao Qingqing came looking for me. I had just gotten out of bed. I was still wearing that silk nightgown as thin as a cicada's wing, and certain marks were blatantly exposed in front of Liao Qingqing. Liao Qingqing gritted her teeth in anger. She bypassed the butler and rushed over to slap me, the force making my eardrums ring in pain. Then Liao Qingqing looked at Hu Jing, but he appeared indifferent, only frowning because this matter was indeed a bit troublesome for him. Liao Qingqing said, "I thought so highly of you.
How could you treat me like this?
Do you know I was planning to make you the general manager of our subsidiary? But you just had to let me down. Why did you have to seduce my fiancé of all people?" I said nothing. My silence infuriated Liao Qingqing. She raised her hand high, as if to strike me, but Hu Jing stopped her. Hu Jing grabbed Liao Qingqing's wrist. "Stop making a scene here." Liao Qingqing grew agitated and accused loudly. "Do you have any idea how much this scandal will affect the company?" Hu Jing frowned. "I'll contact PR and suppress this for now." Liao Qingqing laughed bitterly. "Suppress it? What about me? Don't you have anything to say to me?" Hearing this, Hu Jing smiled lightly, as if it were nothing. "You can call off the engagement, but the collaboration is off the table." Liao Qingqing froze in place. She had never expected that Hu Jing, who seemed so decent on the surface, would never do anything decent. He didn't care about her. If anything, it was all about profit. Even now, Liao Qingqing still tried to maintain her dignity. She took a deep breath before meeting my gaze. "Chen Shui, I'm formally informing you that you're fired. Go to finance this afternoon to collect your salary." With that, Liao Qingqing walked away on her high heels. Hu Jing helped me up, his thumb brushing my reddened cheek with a hint of concern. "She hit you, but you didn't dodge. You just stood there and let her do it." I lowered my eyes. "It was my fault to begin with. What am I to you anyway?" Hu Jing narrowed his eyes, seemingly pleased with my words. "You're my person. That's more than enough. Don't worry. Even if Liao Qingqing doesn't want you, I'll make sure you get into her corporation." Yes, that was my clever plan all along. If I stayed at Liao Qingqing's company, I'd never get access to Hu Corporation's core secrets, the secrets enough to bring down Hu Jing. The villa was surrounded by paparazzi. Half of them were sent by me, the other half came because of today's news. Pretending to be a cleaner, I slipped away from the villa. When I went to finance to collect my salary, they told me Liao Qingqing was waiting for me in her office. I was a bit surprised. Was she going to hit me again? But when I entered the office, Liao Qingqing's face was calm and indifferent. She didn't look sad at all, even smiling happily. Liao Qingqing said, "I've long heard that Hu Jing had a kept woman, so it's you." She twirled her pen, looking very imposing, as if everything was within her expectations. "I apologize for hitting you this morning, but I've already instructed finance to add an extra 100,000 yuan in compensation." I paused, studying Liao Qingqing's eyes. She said, "What exactly do you want? Are you going to take revenge?" "Why would I take revenge on you? I'm the one who took your fiancé." Liao Qingqing looked as if she had swallowed a fly. "To become a couple with a pervert? I'm not that crazy. In fact, I've known about you for a long time, but Hu Jing hid you too well, so I couldn't find you. A year ago, he decided to let you go. But at that time, you didn't look like you were in a good state. I originally wanted you to testify and bring down Hu Jing on charges of illegal detention. But after thinking it over, maybe what you needed more at that time was a peaceful life. After all, you didn't seem to have any fighting spirit." I never expected that you could pull yourself together in just 1 year. I didn't even recognize you when you joined the company. I never thought you'd use your old connections to smoothly become top salesperson and then naturally show up in front of Hu Jing. Liao Qingqing's eyes curved. I'm not a narcissist like Hu Jing, so how could I think you're doing this because you can't live without him? From a woman's perspective, the only result of doing this is to make him feel the same pain you do. Liao Qingqing crossed her hands, ready to propose terms. To take down the Hu family, I can fund the establishment of a research team, and you'll be the chief. Her price was truly tempting. Liao Qingqing said, how could being Hu Jing's wife be more exciting than devouring him? This scandal escalated the conflict between Hu Jing and Liao Qingqing. To quickly salvage the corporate image of the Hu family, Hu Jing decided to launch the experimental project a year early. That is, living tissue transplant. Ostensibly, it explores the level of rejection between animal organs and the human body, but in reality, it's human experimentation. In addition, there are projects only open to specific circles in the industry, such as plasma exchange and extraction of renal red blood cells. People without a conscience always make money a little faster. So the Hu family became the industry benchmark in just a few years, with endless investments, while Liao Qingqing's family struggled to keep afloat. If it weren't for the foundation they had accumulated, they would have been left with nothing. The Hu family's laboratory is overseas because doing experiments here would provide countless samples. 10 years ago, my research direction was to replace human organs with pig organs, but now it's more about transplanting from one person's body to another. Before entering the lab, all communication electronic devices are confiscated, making it impossible to pass on what happens inside. During the video call, Hu Jing asked me, after so many years, you can finally continue your career. Are you happy? I heard you just completed a surgery this afternoon. How was it? Smooth. I said, smooth. Hu Jing smiled. Congratulations. It seems our research has made a huge breakthrough. I sat frozen in the chair, realizing that Hu Jing was a complete lunatic. That wasn't a pig's kidney. I know what a pig's kidney looks like. Hu Jing said, that's not the point. Things like fraud are happening every second around the world. Anyway, we make breakthroughs every year. But it would never be used on ordinary people. It only existed within the upper echelons of society. My hands trembled. This was completely contrary to my ideals. Hu Jing tried to persuade me, saying that a company needs to make money, and I can't always talk about ideals. He leaned closer to the screen. How did you get wrinkles on your face? I looked closely. Indeed, fine lines had appeared around the corners of my eyes again. A facelift could never truly combat natural aging. Hu Jing was already in his 30s, yet he looked so young. He said casually from the other end of the screen, after my wedding with Liao Qingqing is over, I'll find some time to come see you. I nodded and hung up the video call. Then I called Liao Qingqing and told her the opportunity had come. I asked her to come to my apartment later, then follow my car to the lab. Hu Jing went abroad every year, not for business as he claimed, but because that was where the secret to staying young was kept. Ordinary people who wanted to stay young could only go under the knife time and again, but some had already found a way to maintain youth at the genetic level. Hu Jing often urged me to get the injection, saying it would give me a completely different feeling. You're almost 40, he said. I smile. Time is the fairest thing in this world. Those who defy it will surely pay the price. I watched Hu Jing's wedding livestream. The crowd cheered and rejoiced, having already forgotten the recent scandal. Everyone was singing praises for this young entrepreneur's success. The enormous changes he brought were a boon to all, with Liao Qingqing serving as his foil. Few reported that the original research drugs under the Liao family cost only 30 cents a pill. Who exactly was the real blessing? I hid a razor blade in my sleeve, prepared to die with him. I had recorded a video in advance. If it failed, I would upload all the truth I knew to the internet. The day after his wedding, Hu Jing couldn't wait to fly to my side. He really did look young. His perfect face and muscular lines were exhilarating. Though already over 30, he looked like a man in his early 20s. A heavy-duty truck was parked downstairs of the apartment. As we got in, Hu Jing frowned and said, "Why aren't there any traffic police to control this? This country just can't compare to ours," he remarked dismissively and soon drove the vehicle to another location. From the outside, it looks like a club that serves only high-ranking officials and wealthy people. Although the prices are steep, there is a constant stream of customers. Jing skillfully greets them, even introducing me as his wife. He leads me into the injection room. He takes the pre-packaged medicine from the refrigerator. I only trust you. Jing lies back in the chair, closes his eyes, veins bulging on his arms. My hand holding the syringe trembles slightly, but Jing remains unhurried. This day was bound to come. You have to learn to accept it slowly. A loud crash breaks the calm. That truck smashes through the fountain at the entrance and barrels straight into the club. The entire hall is wrecked. Water pipes burst, quickly drenching everyone. Jing is startled awake by the commotion. He struggles to get up, but I drop the syringe and pull out a blade hidden in my sleeve, pressing it against Jing's neck. Because of my extreme tension and force, blood soon seeps from Jing's neck. You want to kill me? He furrowed his brows. I knew you wouldn't learn your lesson so soon. Jing said nonchalantly. We're abroad. You should use a gun. Either slit my throat right now, or wait for someone to come in and shoot you. This is your only chance. My voice hoarse, I said, I choose neither. I want you to be ruined, name and reputation shattered. Liao Qingqing still had her bridal makeup on, clearly having come straight from the wedding. Behind her were not only the driver but also journalists from major domestic media outlets. Jing's eyes widened as he shouted incredulously, What have you done? Facing the countless news media, I cleared my throat. Now I'm going to confess all the crimes I've committed. I laid out the whole story of being imprisoned, abused, and beaten by Jing 10 years ago, and then recounted my revenge plan to the media one by one. Finally, during this period, I discovered the biological experiments Jing was secretly conducting. Strictly speaking, they weren't illegal, but they trampled on everyone's moral bottom line. But imprisonment and abuse, these crimes are enough for Jing to spend the rest of his life in prison. From heaven to hell, it takes only a single day. Jing, who had always masqueraded as an upright entrepreneur, admired and revered by all, never imagined he would end up like this. At death's door, Jing suddenly grabbed my hand, and time seemed to flow backward. Back then, when he first became a student under my advisor, Jing stopped me one afternoon. He asked me, Senior, why can't you change your research direction? Using animal organs to replace human ones takes too much time and money. Why not just use human ones directly? Now, years later, he asked me again, why can't you just fall in love with me? Because from the very beginning, we stood on different paths. Liao Qingqing bailed me out. Her marriage with Jing was automatically dissolved. The Hu group collapsed and was acquired by Liao Qingqing. Jing was sentenced to life imprisonment, despised by everyone. I sat in Liao Qingqing's car. The sun was shining, and the wind was filled with the taste of freedom. But after my time behind bars, there were even more wrinkles on my face. Liao Qingqing said, Don't worry, sis will take you to get a facelift. So, what if you're almost 40? My life is just beginning. Please, time and again, save yourself from the depths of despair. The bird will eventually soar high.